Alright guys, well here we are on the bench. We've got the Volador quadcopter, we've got the O3. You guys all know what the O3 looks like. We got the GPS antenna from FlyFishrc. This is their GPS M8 QMC, it looks like. I think I got that right. It is the M8 QMC 5883L. We got the Skystars H743, the dual gyro. This is a great board to have in your build. Flies great. We're gonna go with the Radiomaster Elrs setup here. So this one is the RP1 V2. So hopefully this will be a good choice for it. We'll see. And we got the FlyFishrc flash motors. These are the 2506s. And these things, I run the 2406s on my 5-inch and I freaking love them. So this is what we're going with today. And these things are beautiful as always. They never disappoint. Just the build quality, the durability. They're running the NMB bearings. You can't go wrong. Like, these are some solid motors. If you're in the market for motors, FlyFishrc flash motors are just hard to beat. They are my favorite choice. I can set those aside for now. We've got this got our HobbyWing ESC. It's one of my favorite go-to ESCs. I used to run Reaper but had issues with them. I went to HobbyWing and haven't had any issues with them. We're gonna end up relocating the wires or rerouting them. They're not gonna keep it the way that it is, but other than that, these things are solid. Always so beautiful. I love them. They just fly phenomenal too, so no problems there. And what else we got? We got a mess already starting. We got our these guys. Probably should have a clean mat too. I got gunk on there and everything, but you know, it gets used. And we've got our FlyFishrc build, and we got some cool stickers, instructions, yeah. And we got TPU. Looks like comes with the arm protection, motor protection right here, and TPU for your antenna for your Vista. Comes with motor wire protection as well. Comes with the extra battery pad along with this battery pad. And it comes with your gummies for your O3, your XD60, your hardware, all your mounting for your O3s in there, your standoffs, everything. Great kit. Got a GoPro mount, so that's pretty awesome. And GPS, right on. We've got a GPS and TPU mount, which I will be taking advantage of, and some antenna mounts for my ELRS, and some standoff little rubber or TPU grommets that go between that and the top plate for vibration dampening. Cam plates. Oh, and I see they did upgrade their straps. Their old straps were like a leather strap. They just weren't very durable. These ones are definitely an upgrade. All right, and this is our actual frame here. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead and pull all these parts out, and we're gonna start on the frame. We're gonna move this other stuff aside for now. Yep, that's how she's gonna go. All right, so we are missing the little FlyFishrc logo that normally comes in here for the bottom plate. So I'm gonna have to skip that process, unfortunately. I don't know what to say about that, but yeah. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start out with the M12x8 screws and the aluminum washers right here. We got 8 of those. So we got M12 and M16 in here. We're gonna take out the M12s. Alright. Need 4 of those guys. 4 of these washers here to start off with. Don't forget your keystone. Stiffen everything up. Well, it definitely stiffened it up all right. Tight fit there, apparently. Come on. Definitely a tight fit. Wow. All right. And you put your M28s through along with your aluminum washers. You want to make sure you're putting them in the right holes, not mixing them up. Drivers, a little faster. Getting nice and snug. You don't want to overdo them, but you definitely want them where they're nice and tight, you know. All right. And this is what we've got so far. And I guess we can go ahead and work on getting some motor protection put on. All right, so we got those bad boys on, and jump into some camera mounts here. standoffs. So they've given us 5 and 3. Believe. Go like this right here. And the XT60 makes up the different space on the back here. So next we're gonna take our M3 by 16. We got 4 of those bad boys right here. And those are what we're gonna use for these 4 standoffs. These are M3 by 23 hex standoffs. M3 by 23. We got 5 of them. They give us 1 extra. So we're gonna go ahead and basically run these through. I really like this frame and how they actually indent for the standoff. It slides in there so it won't spin. It has a recess for the actual standoff itself so it won't turn. You don't need an extra wrench to hold it. See what I'm talking about right here? You got the nice little recess in there. Got this tiny little M12 by 18. They consider it to be a hex nut. It's more like just a cylinder. But we're gonna put that in here. An M2 by 12 screw. And there should be 4 of those. They're gonna be the medium length ones. Here. 24 GPS. All right. Something to that effect. And then we're going to put the M2.5 by 20 standoffs are going to go in here. So they gave us 3 of those. Like so. So we're taking the M2.5 by 9s and gonna run them up to the bottom into the standoffs. And we're gonna also put in our TPU. We've got a little TPU that goes on these little standoffs here to keep frame resonance, I'm sure, down. And as far as I know, they seem to work pretty good. I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of issues with frame resonance or anything like that. So, and then we have these guys here, little frame spacers right here. They actually snap in like this. Okay, like that. And then you're going to run your M2 by 12 through here. Just seals it in nicely. So next we're going to take our bumper and our front camera plates, and we are going to install them using the M3 by 8 button head screw. And you want to make sure you don't have your sides mixed up. They have a left and a right on there. Should have pop these little guys off real quick. This back in like so. And then we're going to put our bumper on the front. And we're going to take our button head screws. We're going to grab 2 of these. These are the M3 by 8s button head. And we're going to change out our, we're going to go back to the M2 driver. Go and start our screw real quick. And now we're to the point where we are just about ready for some electronics. As you can see, we have a capacitor hanging off back here. We're going to go ahead and remove that, as it's going to be in the way for our O3 air unit, and I don't want it hitting the air unit, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it, and then we'll solder in some extension wires and relocate it. But first off, we're going to go ahead and take off this bad boy right here. This lead-free solder they use is really difficult, so you really kind of got to put a lot of heat on it. Try not to burn yourself in the process or ruin your electronics. Okay, we got that one. And we got that one. What a freaking headache. Now there's just the hard part of trying to actually piece everything together the way it's gonna fit, you know. I went ahead and grabbed some little O-rings here, these little guys, and I threw them underneath where the ESC is going to go, in hopes that that will work. But I also want to set up the O3 air unit and get it in place so I'm not fighting with it later. We've got some O3 screws, right? And we have some O3 spacers and also nuts that we need. But I think we're just going to use, we're not going to need the nuts because we're going to just thread right into the bottom of the actual unit. So we're going to need just these spacers here, these 4 collars, and the rest of those can go back for now. These we can use, those are going to be for these bad boys right here. We'll keep them out. But these guys are for the Vista setup, and we're not using those today, so we're actually going to use these guys. Look at that, it even gave us an extra screw. These are hard to find. These are the M1.6 by 14 millimeter screws that actually are used to drive up into the bottom of the O3 air unit, and they are awesome because you just remove the bottom 4 screws right here, which we're gonna do now. And I believe it is a 000 screw. Yeah, 000 Phillips head, and that will remove those 4 screws. I really am right now just trying to establish if I'll be able to fit this in or not, as I don't want to build this quad and have things not fit where they need to go. So I'm gonna make sure and test fit that this ESC will work with the O3 air unit. So I just need to have clearance over these wires. That's my main concern at this point. So I'm just going to put these guys, I'm going to run these guys through, put the collars on, and make sure that it will actually fit. See, we're like pinching here, right? That's going to short out. There's no way I'm doing that. I thought I was gonna be able to get away with doing this after confirming that these wires are gonna be just too tight. It's gonna cause problems for my Vista wiring and everything if I start cranking down on that. That's not happening. All right, back to throwing some heat at this thing. These ESCs are not easy to desolder, these main wires, without putting a lot of heat to them. So we are gonna have to put a lot of heat to this board. In order to get these off. And they are just a pain in the butt. I'm gonna warm up this iron and get this over here. So we're gonna throw some flux on here. These things are so difficult to get off. If you only knew. We're gonna put a bunch of heat and throw a bunch of solder at it. All right. How long it takes to heat it up. And you're talking, this is a good soldering iron I have here. It's just, it takes so much freaking heat for this lead-free solder. I guess it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because these things get stuck on here so good. It's just so hard to remove them. Okay, there we go. I hate putting heat to ESCs. Got those off. Let's get some of that solder off of here. Okay. Getting there, getting there. All right. Let's put that over there. Let's see how it all lines up. Right, all right. This, right? This, okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop these guys off and start installing this O3 air unit. Like so, like so. Right, we got our 19 and 20 silicone dampeners. The 20. Going for the blackout theme. There we go. DJI in full effect. Put these bad boys back on. You guys think about the black on black theme here, huh? Kind of curious. All right. I also need to run this GPS through there too. How y'all stick your GPSs in these days? You guys they just pop in there, or what? We're gonna go ahead and do the pin out for the ESC and the flight controller so that they can communicate properly. I'm gonna go ahead and put my old man lens down here so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Hopefully that's not too much in your guys' way. Maybe a little bit, but not too bad. So we're gonna start out with the current wire, and the current wire is gonna go to the current on here as well. We've got our clip here. It's going to be lined up like so, and the current is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth one down. So we're going to put it in the fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that clipped in. So there's current. Then the next one we have is a R3, which is our telemetry. But if you notice on here, there is no telemetry on the HobbyWing ESC. That's all handled through the D-Shot. And we just don't use it. It's bidirectional, covers that. So the next one is signal for the motor number 4. So this is the third one is S4, and S4 is actually on the whole other end down here. It's the last pin. You always gotta double check these little tabs, make sure you got them locked in. And the next one is going to be S3 for motor 3, which will just be following right down the line here, right next to S4. And then we have signal 2. Sometimes you might have to get a pair of tweezers and kind of force it in there. There we go. And then the next one is going to be S1. Take your time and just make sure you guys get it right, and make sure you don't break the little tabs off the back here. So we've got, those are all good to go. Then we have our battery, right? And we have ground, battery, current, right? So we've already installed our current, which was number 4. So right next to that, right above that, is going to be pin 3, which is going to be our battery. It looks like it's having a hard time going in here for me. Let me get it a little closer there. There we go. And last but not least, we have our ground. Which is going to be right next to it, to the battery. The top pin is NC, which stands for no connection. There's nothing there. Non-compliant. Alright, and that's basically our harness. There we go. One of the other things we need to do now at this point is we need to get our capacitor soldered up and mounted wherever we're going to put it, so that way we've got that situated. Typically on these guys, what I do is I actually just straighten these tabs out some. I'll get like a pair of needle nose pliers. Just kind of straighten them out like so, and then I'll grab some extra wire. Let's see here, what have I got? I guess I can use some of this bad boy right here. Taking a nice little bit, so I have plenty of room. This is what I'm going to use for my capacitor wire. Don't be like me and use red wire for both. If you do, make sure you know what you're doing and you have them not mixed up or nothing like that, you know. What I like to do is I take the ground here with the white stripe as your ground. This one's going to be your positive, and I like to just try to like straighten out these wires just so they're kind of straight, not really twisted. And then I kind of like try to like get it right in the middle of them, wiggle it around until it opens up enough to let you shove it right in the middle, just like so, right? And then I just kind of pinch it on there, nice and close. All right, do the same with the opposite. Straighten the wires out. Try to get it right down the middle here. Force it around there. Straighten those wires out. We're gonna put some heat shrink on here, but in the meantime, that's that. You got it completely saturated all the way around. Looks pretty good. Check them, make sure they're nice and tight. We'll put the red on the positive and the black on the negative. Normally I like to use my heat shrink gun, but this is faster for the moment. I'm running low on plug space. Alright. And I think I'll probably put something around that just as well. There we go. Had a hunt for that. I was on a mission for this one. Had to work for it. So I like to normally just put a little bit of heat shrink on my capacitor so it reduces any type of vibration, because I'll just zip tie it to the frame, and the less noise or vibrations the better for the gyro. Now we just need to find out where we're going to put it exactly. And how we're going to run it. I think the best choice looks like maybe running it underneath and then out to the top. So I'm thinking we should zip tie it. Black zip ties for the black quad. Sorry you guys couldn't see that. A little off screen there, but the struggle's real. Alright. I think we're good to go there. So I got that situated. All right. Do one at a time so I don't get them both cut and mixed up. So we're going to verify that's my black. I'm going to go ahead and throw some solder on that, and I'll put some flux on the actual negative. So we are going to go ahead and move along with the process. And sorry about I got just a lot going on here. We're gonna go ahead and start soldering up this ESC, all the motor wires, trimming them up to the length that they need to be, and getting them soldered in position. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-tin all these pads on this ESC at this point. So you guys can check out how that goes, and we'll work on that right now. Trying to keep my magnifying glass out of your guys' way so you can see, but also where I can see. You know what, I gotta get rid of a couple of these things up here. I got tools. It's always harder trying to build something when you're trying to shoot a video to do it and show people, because it's just not a lot of room. A good soldering iron really makes a difference, guys. Alright. Now what we're going to do is just go ahead. Oh, dang. Alrighty then, we're just going to have stuff start falling around. Now we're going to go ahead and get our motor length. Motor wire length. And typically the way I do this is I just start from the one that's going to be on the inside, right? And then I'm going to turn this around because I want it to be the way that I want it to be. So I start on the inside, and then I mark it basically where I'm going to want it, you know. And typically I like to leave a little bit of room, but not like a whole lot of excess room. I'm just going to use these because I can't seem to get the angle I want. So you want a little bit of excess, but not too much. And then you just cut right there. Boom. Right? And then the next one. And finally your third. And then strip them all back. And you might do it a different way. Normally I do it a little bit different too. I actually just do one wire at a time, and then I just use basically the width of the actual head of the pliers to actually cut back. So you can see basically like that. That's all I use. Try to just use the wire cutters as a measuring for depth. Then I just kind of twist them up, get them nice and clean. And then I'll jump in here with some solder and tin them. Like so. And then what I like to do is I like to put some flux on the ones I'm getting ready to solder up. And I do believe I will solder them up just like so. Just, man, I gotta go get new glasses. My glasses ain't working very good these days, so tomorrow's the day to do that. Then what I'll do is I'll grab that first one and I'll bring it over. Try not to touch anything. Let me go ahead and clean this tip up. This tip needs to be cleaned up. I'll just kind of melt it in and pull out. Boom. I don't know if you guys could see that or not. Can you guys see that? Well, I hope you guys could see that. I'll zoom in for you. And then we'll go on to number 2. Number 2, and then number 3. And that's all she wrote for that one. I'll go ahead and cut out, and I'll come back when it's all done. And that was our final 3. All right, now at this point, what I like to do is I like to get some rubbing alcohol, and I'll rub everything down, make sure there's no metal particulates or solder blobs or anything like that that's going to cause a short. I'm using 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can use, you know, rubbing alcohol if that's what you have. And that's basically it, just like that. It'll dry out pretty quick. Typically at this point, what I want to do is I want to get this XT60 on, so I'm just going to mock up the top plate real quick. Just gonna throw on this top plate. Actually throw this back strap in. I think the back strap should be the longer of the two. And I want this connector to be basically right at the edge of this strap. Thinking something like that right there. So take here. Here. There's more than one way to skin a cat, guys. If you guys got a different way you guys want to do this, that's fine. If you guys want to use the XT60 on the back, that's fine. I know some people probably wondering, like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? Well, this is the way that I like it. And, you know, I've found it works best for me. So I've tried using the XT60 in the back, and I'm not a fan of it, so I use it a different way, and that's just the way it works for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and tin these up. Throw some on the XT60 as well, connector. Let's get it filled up like that. forget. Throw your protector on there. On this, you got your plus on the flat side and your minus on the round side, right? So we're going to just go ahead and start with the plus side, just like so. Just thinking maybe like so. It can be upside down, hard for you guys to see, but it's gonna work better out for me, and that's what matters at this point. So you guys will see the negative really well. Okay, so there's that positive, and then it'll kind of hold itself right here. Alright guys, now's the time where I'm gonna go ahead and test my ESC connections real quick. Make sure nothing's shorted out, nothing's bad. This is something you can do to test your ESCs as well when you got issues. You just put your ESC on continuity and you make sure. So what you want to do is you want to test your positive and make sure that the positive has connection and that there is no tone between negative and positive. There might be a slight second of a tone, and then you want to check each leg with the positive, and you should not hear anything tone. You also want to check the same thing with the negative and make sure that no legs, no motor wires actually get tone. Okay, we're good. So our ESC looks to be good. Everything seems to be working. Now would be the time we could actually do a little fire up and test to make sure the ESC is functioning. I would highly recommend that you guys use a smoke stopper, but I don't have a smoke stopper. Mine actually doesn't work right. So I'm gonna go ahead and check everything one more time. Everything looks good, nothing's grounded out. And we're gonna go ahead and put power to the ESC, and it should just tone up the motors and we won't get the secondary beeps. Let's hope for no smoke. That's what I wanted to hear. Beautiful. All right, so we're looking good so far. Now we get into the technical mumbo jumbo of wiring up this flight controller. So I'm not going to use any of the plugs that are on here other than just for the ESC, because you're kind of limited with that. But the rest of it I'm going to actually hardwire, just because I'm not playing games when it comes to wires coming disconnected and whatnot. So on this, we're gonna go ahead and wire it up. This has a pit switch on it, and I believe we should probably go ahead and put the pit switch on, maybe, because this is DJI 03, they're gonna get hot, and if we have it on a pit switch, then when we're firing up seeking satellites, we can just go ahead and disable the 03 air unit. And we're gonna get out our directions, and it will have a color-coded chart just for you to look at in English. Up, 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 up. this is the wrong side. I think this is the right. Nope, that's Chinese. So right here, okay. So right here it tells us red is power, black is ground, white is URX, and gray is URTX. So RX connects to TX on the flight controller, and we're not going to use the signal ground, and we're not going to use the DJI HDL flight controller S bus, because those two are going to be used for your remote control if you have a DJI remote control. We're not using that, we're using ELRS, so we're going to go with these 4 wires, and brown and yellow will be exempt. So right here we've got our connections. We're going to, I guess we should probably go ahead and remove the ones that we don't need prior to trying to solder it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and remove the back here so I can get access easier to the plug going to the O3 air unit. Okay. Right. And this is our plug right here. And I want to remove the yellow and brown. These two right here. So you want to just take the edge of your tool there, pry it to the side, and we're going to pop this guy out. Oh, I think it's set back in place here. There we go. There. Is that? That. We're going to push those back down. There we go. We'll go ahead and yank those out. We're going to feed that back in. Like so. Pull them. Get them in there. And I'm going to go ahead and just solder them nice and easily. I'm going to turn this so it's real easy to get to that. And we're going to go ahead and take our fingernails and just strip those like that. Strip that like that. Like that. And like that. Okay, so got our wires all nice here. We're going to go ahead and tin those and then tin our pads as well. Always be careful when you're soldering over your flight controller too. If you get little droplets on there of solder, it can ruin your day, dude. So I suggest not soldering over your flight controller if possible. I'll go ahead and turn this around. Alright guys, I made a mistake when I was recording and thought this camera was recording, but it wasn't apparently. So what I've done is I've actually hooked up the DJI 03, and the instructions on this are red is power, black is ground, white is your RX to your TX on the flight controller, and gray is your TX to your RX on your flight controller. And what I did is I went ahead and set it up on the pit switch side, which is going to run on 10 volts. This little jumper right here is set up for pit switch 10 volts. Right here it's set for pit jumper on 10 volts. And I went ahead and put the ground right here and the hot right there. That's the actual 10 volt pad. That's the ground. And then I put my gray, which is my TX to RX5 or R5, and I put my white, which is my RX to T5. And I'm gonna wire up the GPS next, which is gonna go right here, and it'll have my 5-volt ground, T, R, and this is gonna be the SDA and SCL pads. So this is where your GPS is gonna hook up. And once again, sorry for not recording the whole O3 process. I did record it on my other camera, but that camera isn't going to show you what was actually happening per se. All right, so I am going to pop this up, bring this under, that down, going to lock that up. Okay, that should be plenty, the GPS. And I'm gonna give me some extra here. Go ahead and cut these right about there. Oh, and that's out to the wrong side anyways. But whatever, it is what it is. Go ahead and strip these all back. And we'll go ahead and tin all those. Get all those tinned up. Gonna go ahead and turn this so I can get in from the side real easy, like. And our red is gonna be our power. Let's start at the top. How about that? We're gonna start. Black. And white will be the TX to the RX. And yellow is RX to TX. And then we have SDA and CDL. SDA is up here. And SCL is right next door. Kind of want to twist this up. Like so. So everything's nice and clean. And I think we're about ready to button things up, other than the RC link, which is going to go right here. The only thing I can see be an issue. I wonder if that could be a reality like that. And just zip tie that right to the freaking capacitor, huh? I'm assuming. I like that. White is RX. White is RX. White is RX. I'm recording. All right. Set up this Radiomaster. Hit the ground. 5-volt RX TX. All right. So our white was our RX, which is going to go to my TX. Green is going to be TX to RX. I got chickens going crazy in the background. Hope you don't mind. All right. So we've got our ELRS soldered up. We've got our DJI 03 soldered up. We've got our GPS soldered up. We still need to mount it, and then we should be good to go. Finish mounting the flight controller, and we should be good. All right, so now we need to install this GPS module. Like so. Boom shakalaka. Get a couple turns on that like that. Here. Okay. So there you have it, pretty much. We got everything in there just about. We just need to finish up the final little touches. I'm going to take this flight controller back off. We're going to put some little spacers on here. Grommets. O-rings. Okay, we're missing one. Here it is over here. Okay, so let's double check, make sure all of our bottom ones are on. Those are all good. Those are all good. ESC is good. Alright, and this is gonna come around here. Oh, we forgot, gotta plug in this ESC as well. Try to keep this as straight as possible because I need as much length as possible. I'm hoping I can get all this to work together and jive together. Sure would be nice. Apparently my videos keep cutting out, but we're finishing up. Got the flight controller installed. We're making the final touches, putting the final hardware on. Just making sure everything's jiving okay here. Make sure that we got plenty of room for these wires on the ESC. Typically use finger tight like that when I just pinch it. Don't let it that's perfect. So we've got everything dialed in and buttoned up. She looks pretty clean for the most part. Everything should work. And just for you guys, we're gonna go ahead and do a plug-in and see if we get all of our tones. We tested the ESC, and now we'll go ahead and test this bad boy and see what we got. We got power to every component so far. The DJI is not gonna power up, I don't think, right now, just because it's on a pit switch and I don't have that pit switch activated. Alright, this is what we ended up with. I think it turned out pretty freaking sweet. Looking pretty beautiful. Not too shabby.